For today's math lesson, please turn to page 196. On page 196, this is the beginning of lesson 6-1, multiplying and dividing by powers of 10. So for today, we're going to focus on multiplying the powers of 10. And then the next day, we'll do dividing. Number 1, when you multiply a number by a power of 10, do you expect the product to be greater or less than the start number? Why? Press pause and answer that question. Now, hopefully you had time to think about that. You wrote down your answer, and we're going to think. If we multiply a number by a power of 10, usually when we multiply, the number increases. So we are going to say, do you expect the product to be greater than or less than the start number? Let's just write greater than. And why? Multiplying a number greater than 1 gives a product greater than the start number. We'll just say multiplying by a number greater than 1 usually is larger. Okay, so it's a greater amount. Number 2, use a calculator to complete the table. Look for patterns in how the decimal point moves. Note, you may need to place a 0 in the 10th place to show the location of the decimal point for whole numbers. For example, write 453.0 instead of 453 to show the decimal point. So grab a calculator, and if you don't have one, that's okay. Okay, let's start with this first one. 4.53 times 10 to the power of 1. So basically 10 to the power of 1 would just be, 10. So if we're thinking 4.53 times 10, our answer would be, well, let's see, I'll grab a calculator. 4.53 times 10 equals 45.3, 45 and 3/10. 45 3/10. The next one, 4.53 times 10 to the power of 2. So if we're thinking 10 to the power of 2, that would be 100. So 4.53 times 100 equals 453. 453. Next would be 10 to the power of 3, which would be 1,000. And 4.53 times 1,000. 1, 2, 3. 4,530. You can kind of see the pattern of what's going on here. 45300 for the next one. 45300. 453 1, 2, 3, 4. And so as you notice, the number is getting bigger. So we can go back and add our commas to show the families. 1, 2, 3. So this is 45,000. 1, 2, 3. 453,000. 1, 2, 3, comma. 1, 2, 3, comma. 4,530,000. So let's take a look at the movement of the decimal point. So if we're taking a look at this, it was 4.53, and then it moved to 45.3. Looks like the decimal point moved one place to the right. 4.53 times 10 Looks like the decimal point was here and it moved 1, 2 points. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. So if we're taking a look, the direction of the decimal point moved to the right. So you can write right, 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 right. All of that moved to the right. The number of places that it moved, in this case, it moved over 1 to the right, 2 to the right, 3, and 4. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at your results from the table above. Compare the power of 10 in each row to the movement of the decimal points. What do you notice? So if you take a look at this, the power of 10, it moved 1, and the number of places it moved was 1 here. And so the decimal point always moves to the right. The number of places moves the same as the exponent. So whatever the exponent is here, that's the number of places. So looking at the exponent tells you how many places to the right. The decimal point moves. Part B. Use the pattern you notice to write a rule for multiplying any decimal by a power of 10. Okay, so to multiply a decimal by the power of 10, move the decimal point to the right. The exponent tells you how many places to move it. So for that one, I think that's pretty much the same answer as part A, so we'll just leave that. If you divided, let's take a look at number 4. If you divided a start number by the power of 10, would you expect the quotient to be greater than or less than the start number, and why? If we take a look at divided, usually dividing means that the number is going to decrease in value because we're splitting it up. So for this one, would you expect the quotient to be greater than or less than? We'll write less than because we are dividing or breaking up a number. So the value will decrease. Okay, I'd like you to take a picture of page 196 and send that to me.